Hi, do you remember that scene in Airplane 2 where Julie Haggerty must explain to passengers that asteroids are smashing into the side of the ship, creating damage, and veering the ship off course? Well, that's a very appropriate analogy to what is happening to campaign finance and transparency in the selection of the next City Council speaker.
Ladies and gentlemen, please calm down. Please listen to me. I want to tell you what's going on with the ship.
This is the late Tom Manton. Over the years, he brokered several deals to determine who would be the Speaker of the City Council. After Mr. Manton's death, Representative Joe Crowley became the Queens County Democratic political boss. Manton and Crowley brokered the backroom deals, which selected Christine Quinn to be Speaker for the last 8 years. But the system that allowed county political bosses to determine the speakership has been undermined by the corrupting role of money in politics and the growing influence of lobbyists. This is Scott Levinson. He's a campaign consultant and political operative who administered a super PAC to defeat Christine Quinn. He's also a supporter of the Working Families Party. Mr. Levinson likes to call himself a progressive, but in the last municipal election, he fully exploited the Supreme Court decision in Citizens United by fully embracing the role of super PACs in several political campaigns.
2013 will go down as a Rubicon in the introduction of independent spending here.
Under the old system, you had county political bosses and big business interests determining who was going to be the speaker using backroom deals that were never transparent to the public. Now you have a system where lobbyists and special interest money are going to determine who's going to be the speaker, and these meetings are also being done in the back rooms with no transparency to the public. Under both systems, the electioneering that went into determining who was going to be the speaker didn't have to be reported to the Campaign Finance Board. We all know that Citizens United was a bad decision for democracy. The damage caused by unlimited spending in political campaigns reminds me of the release of a monster in another movie, Clash of the Titans.
Release the Kraken!
Citizens United allowed lobbyists and special interests to undercut the power and influence of county political bosses and big business interests in this last election. This can be seen in the fact that the preferred candidate of the county political bosses and big business interests, namely Christine Quinn, did not win the mayoralty. Consequently, the county political bosses and big business interests are in a panic.
Miss, are you telling us absolutely everything?
Not exactly. We're also out of coffee. Listen to me. Your crew is in complete control of the situation. Trust me, there's absolutely nothing to worry about.
Amidst this panic, the public only sees tranquil candidate forums where the issues discussed will have no impact on the backroom deals that will select the next speaker. And big business has a lobbyist who supports the big business candidate for speaker. The backroom meetings and deals of the county political bosses and big business interests are neither transparent nor reportable. And the same thing goes for the lobbyists who are opposing the county political bosses and big business interests. This is Bill Lipton, the state director for the Working Families Party. 2 weeks ago, he sent an email to the membership promoting reforms of the New York State's campaign finance system. With fair elections, politicians can work for the people who voted for them, not the people who cut the biggest checks, he wrote. There's something disingenuous about Bill Lipton's email, and that is every politician, on the right and the left, benefited from the exploitation of super PACs in the last election. The lobbyist Scott Levinson most visibly exploited the use of super PACs. He administered a $1 million super PAC to defeat Christine Quinn for mayor. Allegations have been raised whether the activities of that super PAC were coordinated to directly benefit Mayor-elect Bill de Blasio. Scott Levinson is now providing campaign consulting services to Melissa Mark-Viverito, who is running for City Council Speaker. A caucus of council members has retained another lobbyist. How are all these lobbyists being paid? What's in it for them? Not only do we not know how money is being raised to pay the lobbyists, or how that money is being spent, but now council members are threatening to vote in secret, effectively hiding from voters the work we elected them to do. Why are progressives fully embracing the role of independent expenditures and unlimited spending in politics? Why are they opposing transparency? After there were questions about how Scott Levinson was going to be paid for providing campaign services to Melissa Mark-Viverito after Election Day, I contacted the Campaign Finance Board. I reminded the Campaign Finance Board that the last time a consultant provided questionable services to a candidate, it was an early indicator of corruption. In that example, the elected official, Alan Hevesy, went to jail, as did his campaign consultant, Hank Morris. I also told the Campaign Finance Board that there were eerie similarities between the Mark-Viverito-Levinson arrangement and the Hevesy-Morris arrangement. What does it tell you that from behind bars, Hank Morris can call for campaign finance reform, but our very own Campaign Finance Board refuses to examine these issues? The Campaign Finance Board is unwilling to investigate the out-of-control role of lobbyists in determining the next City Council Speaker. That's reflected in the guidance they shared with me in response to the many questions I posed to them. If your campaign received public funds, you are permitted to make only very limited post-election expenditures for nominal costs associated with the winding down of a campaign and responding to the Campaign Finance Board's post-election audit. The council speaker race is not considered a separate election that needs to be reported to the Campaign Finance Board. If a candidate makes political expenditures or accepts in-kind contributions, they should be reported in a future filing. Disclosure of candidate campaign committee activities for the 2017 cycle through the Campaign Finance Board will begin in July 2014. However, committees making political expenditures should disclose that spending through the State Board of Elections by January 15, 2014. Even though there have been reported allegations of coordinating possible double-dipping and efforts to skirt disclosure by Scott Levinson, the Campaign Finance Board refuses to investigate. Because we have lobbyists and special interests fully embracing the role of independent expenditures and unlimited spending in selecting the next speaker, we don't stand a chance at ending the role of money in politics. And it almost doesn't matter who selects the speaker. At the end of the day, we don't even have the Campaign Finance Board on our side to demand transparency and reporting of the electioneering payments that's going to determine the next speaker. I don't know how to completely overturn Citizens United, but to begin to eliminate some of its worst aspects in our municipal elections, here are some of my recommendations. Begin by reforming the Do-Nothing Campaign Finance Board. Pressure progressives to enforce transparency. Improve speakership electioneering reporting. End reporting loopholes that allow subcontractors to not be reported. And end the provision of free campaign services, including for the speakership. Or we could do nothing, wait and see which of the current crop of politicians and lobbyists get convicted of fraud, go to jail, and eventually call for campaign finance reform from behind bars.